Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Summer Bach and I'm super excited today. This is actually part 2 where I'm talking to Ian Clark. He's the founder of Activation Products and Oceans Alive. And in our first part of this, we talked about the phytoplankton, we talked about coriander seed oil, and we talked a little bit about pumpkin oil, even though it's a little preemptive because it's not as easily available yet. But you guys now know about those products. And today we're going to talk about some really cool products that he also has. So I'm excited to welcome Ian because of the amazing work that he's doing. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Hey, so yeah, thanks for having me on your podcast again. This is great.
Awesome. So we know a lot about your story. Like we kind of heard about, where you came from and how you, basically healed your body through doing this work. And it's just, I'm reading a lot of books on nutrition and constantly reading books from my colleagues, writing about their stories. And that is just like the one thing that I've noticed everybody has in common is that they all have some story. If it's not themselves, it's somebody in their family or somebody in their life that usually got, like there's a very, very, very many people out there who have done this themselves. And that's kind of what got them started on this path when they realized, oh, wow, what I've been told my whole life that I couldn't change this, I couldn't cure this, I couldn't get rid of this, you can. I mean, really, it's like, I'm so excited that the tide has turned on this whole concept, that you can heal your body, essentially.
Right, yeah, you just give it the materials to support it. And the genetic predisposition, whatever that is, needs to be compensated for. And each person needs to find out what that compensator is for them. Because we are genetically predisposed. Some people are able to eat out of the dumpster and party their face off till they're 90, but not many, right? Not very many.
Not very many. There are some lucky people. Just kidding. No, I don't know. I mean, some of those things where, a lot of people ask me about like how I would consider myself a pretty sensitive person. Like my ability, I'm sure yours is very similar. Like my ability to pick up on subtle energy is pretty heightened. And like just the subtle changes in my own body. Like I'll be like, oh, that made me feel this way. And people will be like, I have no idea how that makes me feel. They just, they can't connect with what affect food or, coffee or alcohol or any of these things, even sugar, are having on their body. They don't necessarily connect or even have that cause and effect relationship with their body. And sometimes I think people are worried about going down that pathway of getting healthier and losing that that buffer and gaining sensitivity. But I have to say, like, I think it's one of the greatest gifts. Like getting to the place where I can actually tell how food makes me feel means that I get this opportunity to eat in a way that makes me feel incredibly better and better and better. And then my mental clarity is there, my energy is there, and my ability to function better in the world and like create an awesome life for myself increases. And people are like, how do you do so much? How do you, and I feel like really it's just like I've cleared the clutter so much in my body, and which, clears the clutter mentally and emotionally, and it just gets easier to focus and get stuff done. And also it takes the focus. I feel like one of the key components of healing is it takes the focus off of yourself. Like once you've healed your body and you're not as obsessed with like how you feel or how little energy you have, you can't really do that much. You shift that awareness from yourself to the people around you. And then over time, you have a greater capacity to support more and more people and help more and more people. And I think that's, it feels incredible. Like that's such a nice way to go to finally not feel, I felt so self-obsessed all the time,
Right. Yeah, you're kind of forced into that box when you're fighting for your life, especially if you have something very serious. And that was where I was, and which is ridiculous to ever get into that place. It's based on ignorance. And once you get rid of that ignorance, those things that are killing you, that are from the unseen world, to you at that point because you're blind to them, and you get your terrain cleaned up and set properly, all the terrain in the external world around you starts to heal up as well. So yeah, it does start from inside and really goes out and manifests outside. And that's the fun part. Once you get through that hot fire, my fire was like 40,000 degrees hot, but it had to burn all that junk out of my system and all my incorrect thinking or wrong attitudes. And, the gut brain, the head brain that's calculating everything, and then the gut that was all clouded over with all the toxins. We get rid of those things and everything opens up. And you have boundless energy, and you know how to use your energy and reserve your energy, so you're not burnt out at the wrong time, right? And you know, because that's where depression comes in, and then learning about the whole cycle of bringing our junk from the past into the present, and getting into that circular reasoning where we make a bad decision to not go forward into the future with good things because we've had this bad experience before. And, you know, if I did this before this happened, and therefore it's probably going to happen again. And the only release, they've analyzed this psychologically, the only relief from that captivity cycle, continuously bringing your junk from the past into the present, is drugs, alcohol, or illicit sex. And that's the release. That's where people find their release. And that exacerbates the problem because it only is a temporary fake release from their captivity cycle, and they go right back into it. And that's your gut health. There's all the microbes and the parasites and the nasties that are controlling that person's, they're driving them, gets them into that condition. The freedom cycle is when you're bringing, and this came from Dan Sullivan, by the way. I never came up with this. This is Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach, and he studied this stuff for eons. And pulled from way into the past. He said, you bring all of your good knowledge, all the key attributes from your past into the present, leaving all the junky, stupid moves behind, and make your decisions into the future to grow and to flourish and to expand and to tap into the abundance that's all around us. And then that decision that goes into the future can go right back into the past, which happens right away, right? Because the great results of that positive movement forward is now part of your past, building a fantastically strong past that you can draw into the present, take into the future, and keep that freedom cycle going. And that opens up your whole existence to be a major benefit, not only to yourself, but to everybody around you. And it keeps reflecting back and growing.
Yeah, that's super cool. I love talking about these, like, kind of, what I would sort of call like the secret benefits of being healthy, you know, because a lot of times people who aren't actually that sick, they're never really going to find the motivation to make a change, and you know, unless they get sick or unless there's some other sort of like epiphany that they experience, or unless they have like a goal that gets limited by their physical abilities on some level, and that's when you'll start to see people need to shift. But I think if we all were talking a little bit more about sort of our day-to-day quality of life and how that can just be so easily improved by making these changes, you know, I think it would be much more inspiring for people if they knew that these like very simple changes in the way that you know, prepare food in the morning. For example, and I think this is actually a good way to talk about one of my favorite products that you have, which is the Panacea 5-seed blend. So I put this in my smoothie every morning. I put, you know, and it's like one of my favorite things to do. You know, it's just like getting up in the morning, making a smoothie. I usually put like blueberries and spinach. Sometimes I'll put almond milk, maca. Sometimes I will go like on the sweeter route and add banana, or I'll just use water or whatever, you know. And then sometimes I'll use protein powder if I feel like I need a little bit of extra protein, but other times I'll just keep it fairly simple because sometimes I feel like protein powder can be a little processed. And I don't know, this has been really nice because I'm not really putting a lot of fat in it. I don't do really well with a lot of fat. I try to save that for my dinner time or like my treats, you know? So I'm not one of those people who puts like coconut oil and like a ton of chia seeds or flax or all that stuff in my smoothies. So I use this for my fat in my smoothies, and I really like it. And this one does, I mean, tell us a little bit about this product. I'm really excited to hear about it from you.
Yeah, so the fat component of that is not the essence of that product. It's more the nutrients that are being delivered in the carrier of the oils. So those oils are unadulterated. So the adulterated oils that are out there gave oils a bad rap. And the only reason these oils are not adulterated, so they're unadulterated oils, means that they're not damaged in process. It's very, very easy to damage oil in the process through a cold expeller press. And it goes through a 10-second grinding process where it really breaks the molecules, it causes them to oxidize. and therefore damages the nutritional profile that's in the oils. Now that 5-seed blend, that's super unique. We call these super fuels for the body because they really are the endurance, stamina fuels that you put in. And people that, especially athletic people like yourself, are going to see a big uptick in endurance, how far you can go. You can push yourself much further and have more energy than you ever had because you're not drawing on your body only. Now you've got this fuel at a microscopic level, this full broad spectrum of micronutrients that are feeding your organs, that have each one a specific purpose, whether it's the coriander, black sesame, the flax, sunflower, or pumpkin. And they all have their purpose. So this eclipses or purges out all of the previous understanding of how fats are operating and what they should be doing in your body by becoming bioavailable, stable, non-rancid, delivering the full nutritional spectrum, and opening up all the pathways in your system to cleanse and nourish at the same time. And that's like the brand new breakthrough.
Well, and so I'm just going to taste it right now by itself, which I haven't done in a while because I've been putting it in my smoothie. But I'm curious, like, how do you recommend people take this, or how much, and what should they do?
Well, there's no limit to how you can take it, other than you don't want to have heat exposed to it, because it's not a cooking thing. You can put it on a cooked meal. You can put it on a raw salad. You can take it by the teaspoon. No matter how you take that, you're going to enjoy it because the taste profile in that is like pure heavenly. It's a very beautiful taste profile. And the fact that you shook it before you took it was really important because we purposely allowed the microscopic sediments to go through. All the big sediments, of course, come out. And then the cake of all the seeds goes out, and that becomes an amazing compost for gardens and things. But that fuel in there is the whole food, the only actual raw seed oil on the planet that is processed without damage.
Wow.
And that's because of the intellectual property that comes out of Germany that nobody knows about. No company has it. It's all internal with us. And we have a way to use a specific mechanical advantage to instantly release the oil out of the seeds with no damage. Therefore, they have the same color as the seeds, the same taste, same smell. The texture is super smooth, as you know. And then it goes in bioavailable, and there's no rancidity because it's stable.
There is no rancidity. And a lot of people don't totally know how to tell if an oil is rancid or not because most of the oils that people are eating are rancid. It's something that we've been exposed to our entire lives. What is the detriment of a rancid oil?
Well, the primary problem with rancidity is, number one, there's an inflammatory response in the system because we have to put up with rancid oils our whole life. People go to restaurants to eat food at home, they eat packaged goods. If any kind of lipid in any products are going to be rancid, and your body will put up with it, and it can cope with that, but it doesn't want to. So okay, but it has to cope with it, and every cell membrane has lipids in it. So the body goes, well, that's all I've got to use. I have to have them. So it uses these rancid lipids, or these damaged lipids, because that's the best they've got. So the moment that these oils are introduced to your system, your brain immediately identifies something it's never experienced before, and just immediately, as quickly as it can, replaces all the oil in each cell as it becomes available. So that's why with these oils, the more you do, the better, because the faster the results. And then you can taper back to a standard amount. So when I first got into these, I took a very large amount in a short period of time. Had a little bit of a digestive eruption the first couple of days. That totally went away. Didn't have any problem because it loosens your stool up a little bit. You're not used to the oils. And so some people that are very sensitive, they always start with a small amount to see how they're reacting because they don't want to get into a Herxheimer, right? No healing crises are allowed. You want to avoid that. So, but that's the key. The whole process is just get them in your system, get all the lipids, reproduced, right, in your system, and then make sure your cells are getting the delivery of all those crucial nutrients.
So what's like when you say you took a lot when you first started out, how much were you taking?
I did equivalent of one bottle per day throughout the day for 4 days straight. Oh yeah, and it was good. Now I was also in a different position than most people because I've been cleansing and nourishing my body for years now.
Yep.
When I did that, I didn't get the runs and have a big eruption at all. I just felt better and better and better. And the thing that shocked me the most was on the 5th day, when I drove, on the 5th day, I left Big Bear, California, Andreas's place, and I had to do a whole circuit through Los Angeles that day. It was about 15 hours total driving, for the trip, and about maybe 12 and a half hours in the seat of the car. Coming back from that last leg from Los Angeles through traffic and then through the mountains was about 4 hours. And I was driving a rental Impala because I didn't rent a nice vehicle at that particular run, that trip. And when I got to Big Bear, I would normally be like pretty stiff, you know, being in my 50s, and you just get stiff when you drive a long ways. Not as bad as I would have been, you know, in my 40s when I was toxic, but still a certain amount of stiffness. I jumped out of that car in his driveway because I hadn't been thinking about it. You know, you just drive there and was thinking about all kinds of stuff, and I'd been on some phone calls. Jumped out of there, and my body was completely limber. I was like a little kid. I was, wow, that's weird. Not a single ache or pain in my body. So I was wow, that's cool. I went into the house and I told Andreas. He goes, really? Yeah, that's kind of actually unusual that would happen. How much oil were you using? Because I hadn't told him. And I said, well, at that time we didn't have the 5C blend. We just had the individual oils that make up that 5C blend. And I had been consuming them, you know, several bottles during that 4-day period, equivalent to what would be 4 bottles of that. And on the 5th day I was consuming it as well. But that was something that was remarkable. He said, wow, you way overdid that. He said, you're trying to catch up with me real fast, and that's cool, but what kind of reaction did you have? And I said, I didn't have any bad reaction. A little bit of looseness that first day, but then it was fine. And I felt just better and better. And I said, I can't believe how quickly this acted. He goes, wow. And he was surprised as well, because I don't think he'd had anybody that did that much oil outside of himself, you know, from the years. But he'd been doing oil every day for years by that point. So it was an interesting experience. And I'm a little bit of a radical with things. I'll try more, because with guys, a lot of times we think more is better when it often is not. But in this case, it really worked. So.
That's so fascinating. Yeah, at this point, I've only done like probably at the most about a tablespoon per day. And that's really all I've tried. But I love the concept. It actually, just like even thinking about it makes me realize like this would actually be a great way to do a juice cleanse for people who can't go into a juice cleanse, to balance it out with this. Actually, it'd be really a great way to do it.
Well, it really removes the hunger pains, because your body is so saturated with hypernutrition, really is what it is. It's nutrition you've never experienced before.
You know, this would be so good in a salad dressing.
Oh, man, yeah.
Like the coriander flavor in there and just that pumpkin. I mean, it all just tastes quite amazing. I haven't used it as a salad dressing. I've poured it over like sweet potato. I've poured it over kale. Like I've made like sauteed kale and onions and poured it over that. And amazing. So yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, it really enhances the flavor of anything. I've tried it in everything. That one particular blend is just like that, including smoothies. It doesn't even mess your smoothie up. It makes it nicer.
Got it. And so like in this product, so we talked a little bit about the pumpkin seed before, but you have this, why sunflower?
Oh, sunflower is high vitamin E. It's also a major anti-inflammatory oil, contrary to popular belief, because they're testing adulterated sunflower oil, which gives it a bad rap. And people talk about omega-3, 6, 9. We don't even concern ourselves with that anymore, because that's not what this is about. They play a role, but when they're in this condition, in this perfect state, they go in and just work wonders in your body. When you have adulterated omega-6s, it's so inflammatory you don't want to touch them. And you asked also on the omega-3 side, if you have a rancid oil going in your body, it will bind with the proteins and cause plaque in your brain, which is very difficult to get out. Then you have to go through a whole other process. So you want to definitely make sure, and a lot of times people can't tell by their taste profile when it's already rancid. If they're tasting rancidity, it's really rancid. But that gradual climb until it's tasteable has to be measured in the lab by lipid peroxide testing. And that's the thorough testing that has been done on all these oils, because we have to validate and make sure. Plus, we do a double backup on the oil with the Miron glass.
Yeah.
And Miron is a whole new technology that nobody knows about.
Tell us about the Miron glass.
So Miron is a German invention, and the head office now is in just outside of Amsterdam. They moved from Germany about a year and a half ago. But they came up with a way what they wanted to do is get a glass that could block all sunlight. But they discovered to go to a super deep violet, because when you hold that bottle up, it looks black, but it's not black. If you hold it up to sunlight, it's a beautiful violet color. And that not only protects all of the ingredients from damage, from light. It energizes it and enhances the product, which the company cannot even figure out. So if people go, they don't know the science of why that even works. They just know it works. They took like a little cherry tomato, fresh picked, and they got big apothecary bottles about this big. And you can see it on their website. You know, with these swedge tops, they're not even airtight, but it's an apothecary that you would keep herbs and things in. And they took a mirror glass and a clear glass one. They put a fresh picked cherry tomato in each one. Let it, in 6 months, the clear glass bottle of tomato was all broken apart and swelled up and furry, right? In 18 months later, they took the cherry tomato out of the mirror glass. It was still firm, plump, and juicy. You cut it with a knife as if it was the day it went in. So
what?
How can you explain that scientific?
I don't know.
So, and another thing that was very weird that happened, and this is a
cool,
you know, plug for mirror on glass without intending because we don't sell mirror on glass.
Right.
But people need to know about this because they had a raw honey company over in Europe come to them and get them to do samples comparing the clear glass that they were using with the mirror on glass little jar. And so, because of the expense of these things, people don't want to spend it. We pay 10 times as much at our cost for that mirror on glass bottle than we could buy just a regular amber glass bottle, like everybody else.
Yep.
So when they did the test, they did 100 bottles for them, and they had them in these cases. Well, those cases got put into a storage thing in the back of their warehouse for 4 years and forgotten about. When they moved to Netherlands from Germany back in 2013, they discovered these boxes. They go, oh, remember that little project we did, you know? And then they opened up one of the boxes to see how they were 4 years later. Well, this is no light involved at all because they thought light going through the mirror on glass was energizing the product inside. But these had no light. They opened up the clear glass bottle, and of course honey doesn't go bad because it's so high sugar content, but there was no floral essence, just a little bit of a sour note, not bad, but the honey was still okay. They opened up the lid on the mirror on glass, and it fills the room with the floral essence of that honey. You don't even have to put it near you. It just wafts right up. And they showed that to me. And they said, now explain that, because we can't explain it. We thought it had to have light, but these have had no light.
Wow.
And that's another revelatory thing about mirror on glass. So people buy it, they put water in it, and it was popularized in a very niche market by word of mouth only. So that's a very cool product. And even though people are going to use the oil maybe in just a week, and they have that expensive bottle, they should keep the bottles. They can put water in it, they can put other products in there that they may have made at home, and just see what happens with it.
That's awesome.
It enhances everything. So we're giving a real piece of art to everybody every time they get one of these bottles.
That is so amazing. Well, and all of your products, well, all of your like oils are in this kind of glass. So that's very cool. I love that you've made these decisions to make your products as high quality on all levels as possible. I have such a strong belief in like integrity of your product, you know, and I think that people really respect that for sure. And we like appreciate that, honestly. So thank you.
And everything goes, on that note, everything goes back to Andreas, because it was Andreas that had the vision and the mission. It was him that found out about the mirror on glass. It was him that spent the extra time and money. He didn't concern himself with making money when he was developing all this. He was living in a motorhome with his wife. Wow. This guy's the real deal. For years, and he just knew that he wanted to build something that was the absolute highest quality in the world. So none of this, I came up with none of these things personally. I just identified it, saw what it was, and went, I want to support this guy. I want to be a part of this. This is so exciting for people out there that are going to get this.
Well, so why did you guys put the golden flax in it? What is that about?
So the flax was the #1 oil that helped Andreas survive his Crohn's. It never fixed the Crohn's. It helped him survive. That's all he took for several years. So flax is front and center for people's health. And anybody that has taken the flax oil on a consistent basis, ignoring all the marketing hype from the fish oil industry, ignoring all that junk science out there that they try to perpetrate on people, ignoring the fact that all the other flax oils in the market are rancid and going rancid, right from the press. Flax is the #1 omega-3 that you're going to get in your system. It's brain healthy, heart healthy, liver healthy, right? And it just gets that nutrition going in your system to fuel your body. Gives you better sleep at night. It's just multiple attributes, but it has to be this style of flax oil pressed this way.
Awesome. And then you have also black sesame oil. What does that do?
That's kidney. That just keeps your kidneys beautifully clean and spongy and working at their top level, among
Awesome.
other things. But, that's the problem.
That's the big one. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, okay. So this is one I'm really excited to talk about because I haven't tried this one yet. This is the black cumin oil.
You've never tried it?
I haven't tried it yet because I didn't know that much about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to hear it from you,
That's
and
cool.
I thought it'd be cool to try it, like, I don't know, for the first time and have, a reaction, an honest first reaction. But tell us about this black cumin oil. I mean, I've seen this product before as far as like black cumin seeds. We used to sell those in bulk at a co-op that I worked at.
Right.
So I've heard a little bit about it, but not pressed black cumin oil.
Right. Well, yeah, pressed black cumin oil is fairly common out there, as far as the cold expeller pressing. The issue is that and before you take it, I'll tell you a few things about it and what to possibly expect, because everybody has a different reaction to it. And so the black cumin is known from the Middle East as the cure for all things. As far as a living person, right? If you're alive, it's going to fix basically everything that's happening that's wrong. And whether that is absolutely true or not is really none of my concern, because we know the body needs the support. That's it. The body has the life in it to really build itself to it back to its DNA. But the black cumin is number one, top, front, and center for the ultimate panacea type oil, and that's where we got the name of the product, Panacea, a play on panacea, obviously, using seeds. So the key with the black cumin is that it has to be pressed with this technology to not produce the essential oil of black cumin. So a lot of people mix up essential oils with therapeutic oils. Even though essential oils are therapeutic, in the case of black cumin, it's not. It's toxic. So when they press that, they warn you, don't take more than 2 teaspoons a day, because you're going to hit your toxic load level, and you don't want to do that. With this one, you can drink bottles a day and have no toxic reaction because there's not a speck of the black cumin essential oil in there because of how it's pressed with no damage. Big difference. So people find cheap black cumin, they find out immediately when they buy that and they try ours, it's an entire universe of difference. It's not twice as good or 10 times as good. It's thousands of times more beneficial. And you can use it on a higher dose basis. So the black cumin is going to go in and it's going to go after microbes, parasites, etc. And it's a bit intense. So the taste is not my favorite taste. I'm used to it now. Let's put it that way. Some people think it tastes amazing, right? Because it's all based on their taste profile. When I first took it, you pour it in the spoon, you'll see it has a nice velvety look. I put it in my mouth. Now, before you put it in, be prepared for a little bit of a spicy hit. It's not intolerable at all. And let it sit in your mouth. Don't swallow it right away. So let it sit there a bit. And let it go back to the back of your throat. Because when it went to the back of my throat, I didn't like that at all. And the only terminology I could give to describe my reaction was I was annoyed. And like, don't like that, because it was biting the back of my throat. And it was biting it for about, it felt like just something going on back there for about 15, 20 seconds every time I took it. So I complained about that to Andreas. And Andreas said, oh, he laughed, right? He goes, oh, that's good. I said, how is that good? A lot of people think that means it's rancid. He said, no, there's no rancidity in that oil. It never goes rancid anyway, just sitting there, because black cumin keeps all that oxidation from happening to itself. He said, your throat must have a lot of junk in all those little craggy places and all that flesh back there. He says, it's going to take average person about 2 weeks, and then that's going to go away. You'll never have that biting factor again after 2 weeks. And it was about 2 to 3 weeks for me.
Wow.
I was 1 year old, I had rheumatic fever, so I would always get tonsillitis, really swollen, almost closed shut. And they were threatening to take my tonsils out. Thankfully, they never did. But it cleared me up, and I've had people get sore throats, which they shouldn't if they know what they're doing. But if they happen to let their immune system go down, they get a sore throat, they gargle with that, sore throat's gone in 15 minutes. So this is a powerful oil to go after unfriendlies in your system. But at the same time, it's got a major amount of CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, which is a adenosine blocker, which causes your cells to open up and let the fat be burned. So now you're burning clean fat, And you'll see when you go on your bike ride,
Hmm.
take the black cumin 15 minutes before, take a tablespoon of it, and see what happens in your bike ride.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm always ready for some way to like, I don't know, be able to race people up a hill.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's cool.
When you're burning fat instead of sugar, you're way ahead of the game.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually like, and my body, I know a lot of people are like this, but that's been a huge thing for me. The lower sugar content in my food, like if I can go with really low sugar, low carbs, my body actually functions pretty darn well. I know some people need a lot more carbs to really function properly, but I have so much more energy because I'm so affected by sugar in my blood. You know, I think it's part of my heritage. I have like native heritage, and I just think that like that is something my body's super sensitive to. You know, but yeah, this is interesting. I want to just comment on the flavor. So, it is. It reminds me of something that I can't put my finger on. There's like there is a little bit of a, almost like celery seed or parsley sort of thing going on, just a little bit. And is it in that family?
I don't know if it's in the celery family, but I know what you're talking about. It's very similar.
There's
There's
a,
a little bit of a
yeah,
tone in there
that
of a
like,
celery.
and like the spiciness is almost like a celery spiciness
Hmm.
versus like, you know, ginger or chili flakes or something like that. This is like a celery spiciness to me. And it's intense. I'm glad I waited for your support to take that. Or, I mean, you know, because if I took this, I'd be like, whoa, I don't know what to think about that. But like, I did notice that tingling in the back of my throat. And this is interesting. Like, there's something, it's not super pleasant,
Hmm. Right.
but there's something I really like about it. And I don't quite know how to explain it. It's like, it feels, for lack of a better word, it sort of feels like good medicine. You know, it's like, it has that quality, like very herbal quality. Like, have you ever taken OSHA root?
No.
OSHA, it grows in the Rockies. It's this amazing herb. It helps dilate the bronchial tubes. They call it the singing herb. So people like will take it before they like sing and stuff like that. It's great for getting rid of like really severe bronchial issues. Like really great for like getting at like the end of some sort of chest infection to like really make it go away. And it's also called bear medicine because the bears in the Rockies will take it after they are done hibernating. They'll dig it up and eat it, and it will like kill. It's highly antimicrobial, very highly antimicrobial. And then they'll also dig it up and give it to each other as a mating ritual. It's like adorable. Like here's a little OSHA root. But OSHA root is a very medicinal, herbally tasting, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. Like there's a lot of power in this. It's
Very
like
medicinal.
very powerful. Yeah.
When my wife is not diligent with her health all the time, she's super busy, runs the farm, and she doesn't always take stuff on a regular basis, which I try to encourage her, but each person for their own. And she has an abundance of all the stuff around her. Well, I said, you know, baby, she has these dust allergies sometimes, and we live in an old farmhouse, and we try to keep the air filtered, you know, in case there may be some mold or whatever. And she got into the black cumin, and right away her body just exploded with all these allergic reactions of phlegm and stuff, and it drove so much stuff out of her body so fast. It's amazing what this has done for her. So it really gets rid of the stuff in your body that's reactive to allergies by the purgatory effect.
Awesome.
And I had also a very weird experience. If we have a couple seconds more to talk
Yeah.
about this, I went to the Toronto airport to clear through U.S. Customs flying down to the States once, and I had a couple of bottles of black cumin with me, and I always bring a couple of bottles at all times in these trips. I accidentally left an extra bottle unknown to me in my computer bag briefcase. So I got all the way through customs, cleared it, and I'm through security, and the stinking thing is in my bag. So of course, the TSA guy go, oh, I know this, right? And so I went, oh, great. This is a $69 bottle of oil, sir. I said, I don't have time to go all the way back through. Can I drink it? He goes, well, what is it? I said, well, it's medicinal seed oil. Well, what's it going to do? He said, I'm not supposed to let you drink it. I said, listen, I need to drink that bottle. I'm not going to let you throw a $69 bottle out. So he looked at me like, are you sure you should do that? And I said, I don't know. I think so. It should be fine. Because I never guzzled a bottle before. I drank a whole bottle in one day of that a long time ago, just one time. So I don't, and again, I don't really like the taste. So I just took the bottle and I chugged it all down, kind of holding my breath, right? And I got it all the way down, and I gave it to him, and I didn't have any water to flush it because quite often I'll take a tablespoon and then flush with water. I had no water with me because I just went through security, of course, right? And I just, my whole body shuddered from the overwhelm of my taste buds. And I just stood there a little bit, and I broke out into a sweat within about a minute, but not a real heavy sweat, but a sweat. And I rushed out, and I got some water, and I got some food, which I would never buy at the airport because I had to get something in my gut because I felt queasy for about 30 minutes, and then it was over. And I didn't have any adverse effects from it otherwise, But that was a mega hit, and to me showed me how powerful how much it can go into your system and do its work. I have no idea what it did for my health, if your body can even cope with that much at once. But you can't overdose on it.
That's
There's
amazing.
no toxic reaction. It was just good. But it goes after mold in your system. That's one thing they found in Europe. When they did studies in coriander and black cumin, it breaks the biofilm on the mold and goes after it to get it out of your system. Because toxic mold goes in this network, a communication satellite network inside your body and proliferates, and it will go everywhere. And there's a major suspicion, and in some areas scientific proof, that cancer comes from mold. And if your pancreas gets plugged up with mold, it stops functioning for insulin production. Same with your liver for the enzymes and the bile and all that stuff. So it's a major liver pancreatic support. And we've had people that have had diabetes for years, have lost the feeling in their feet, get tingling back within 3 to 4 weeks, which is unheard of on any other thing. So there's something major powerful with that. And people just need to experiment, see what it does for them. Really, I mean, that is like top level oil for the real person that wants to be ultra healthy.
Yeah, I definitely get that because you're like, for those of you who don't like strong, intense flavors, you're going to struggle with this one. I mean, let's just be honest. But I like it. I think I've just developed a crush on it, and I'm excited to take it every day till this is gone. I'm really excited about it. There's something there for sure. Thanks so much.
You're going to get the little glow in your cheeks. It's already starting.
Yes.
So, you major glow already.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, before you took the oil.
Thank you. So we have one last thing to talk about, which is your magnesium infusion. And I've definitely tried this out, but I want to hear you talk about it. Like, I mean, magnesium, I recommend for a lot of my clients, if they're, if people are struggling with constipation and things like that, I often recommend sauerkraut as a starting point. But some people, if they have histamine intolerance or the constipation is just really, really bad and they need additional support, I do generally recommend magnesium. And I usually do the Natural Calm recommendation, which is like magnesium citrate supplement. And so, yeah, I mean, that's been a really good form to get it into people. But I also know that, like, you're absorbing some, but you're also flushing some out when you take it. But magnesium, most people, from what I understand, are magnesium deficient in this culture. And it has a lot to do with the support of your muscles and your nervous system. And I know for myself, when I've gotten more magnesium into my system, I have been able to calm down, sleep better, feel more relaxed. I'm not holding all this tension and feeling like even anxiety, So I find it to be really effective for that. I also find it to be pretty effective for keeping me relaxed when I'm overtraining, like accidentally like doing too many physical activities at once, or like maybe learning a new sport, or like going skiing or something like that, where I'm like going to be out every day. I find magnesium is really beneficial. I'll travel with it if I know I'm going to be out doing a lot of physical activity. But I'm curious about this product in particular, because tell us how it works.
Yeah, well, it's, like you mentioned, the magnesium studies have shown that people are definitely deficient, less to more degree. And any magnesium deficiency is going to cause an interruption of about 300 and some different enzymatic functions in the body. Taking it orally, and in desperate situations, like you said, when people are needing to flush their colon, if they're constipated really bad, if they don't want to do colon hydrotherapy or something, they can use an orally consumed magnesium, but it is extremely hard on the kidneys at the end of the day. That's one price that they will pay. And anybody that has kidney disease at all can't use any kind of orally intake magnesium. And if they're flushing, if they're having a flush into the toilet, they're actually also losing a lot of minerals that are in their system that go with that. So it has some detrimental effects. So this is the actual solution to get the magnesium perfectly into your system without any disruption to your digestive system. It goes right in through your skin. And this is a very pure form. We pay 10 times more for the raw material for that product than anybody else out there because it goes above pharmaceutical into a molecular form. And that's, it has that shrink wrap safety seal on it. So this is the purest form, and it's only magnesium chloride hexahydrate. There are no other rogue elements with it that you will find in other magnesium solutions. When you put it on your skin, it goes right into your body within a minute. You don't even have to massage it in. You just put it on, wipe it a couple of times, and it's gone in a minute, minute and a half.
So I just spray it.
Yeah, yeah, and you can spray it right there, actually, in a daily basis. If you have any anxiety at all for some reason, it means you burnt too much magnesium from the work you're doing. You've got some unjustifiable anxiety, spray that in that area, and within 10 minutes, your anxiety's disappeared. We see that all the time. But it goes in, you can put it geographically in that form. Now, every day, just as a maintenance, you should put about 30 sprays into your lower abdomen until you have no more signs of magnesium deficiency. So you just simply look at the list of all the things that could potentially show magnesium deficiency. Doesn't mean you're going to have all the symptoms, but if you have some of them, you've got the problem. So you just do 30, like men, for example, high blood pressure, and I've had medical doctors that cannot stand natural stuff. That when they finally heard enough times that men balance their blood pressure with this magnesium spray, they tried it themselves reluctantly and telling everybody, don't tell anybody I'm doing this. And they would get their blood pressure balanced in a matter of days.
Oh, wow.
Because that's where the blood pressure problem comes from, magnesium deficiency. That's the issue. So very quick, 30 pumps into the abdomen. If you have stiff knees, sore knees, stiff muscles, ankles, anywhere you want, you put it right in that area. It immediately marries with the calcium to get that stiffness out of that joint or out of those muscles, because calcium going and building up incorrectly out of balance in various areas of the body causes the pain, which is putting pressure on the nervous system, which is sending the alarm to the brain, that hurts, something's wrong. So you put the magnesium there, it remarries it immediately, and over the course of months, it will allow your body to get completely rebalanced.
Wow.
And we had one girl that was in customer service with one of our distributors years ago. This is where I first realized the power of it. She had injured her right shoulder in high school in a sports injury, and it had been repaired back then, but it ached. And so she heard, that I helped my tennis elbow completely within 7 weeks of spraying it on my elbow, took the pain away every day, came back every day the next day, went away every day until 7 weeks later it was completely gone. It took her 2.5 months to get her shoulder to get to the perfect shape that it was originally in by marrying with the calcium, getting all the pressure off the nerves. But at a month and a half, the second cycle, her menstrual cycle that she came, for the first time in her life, because she was about 27 years old when this happened, ever since she had her first menstrual cycle, it took her out for 4 days. Cramping so bad, she was so messed up and heavy bleeding, she couldn't go to work. She was so excited. When I went down and visited, she comes running out of there when she heard I was there, and she goes, I got a story to tell you about the magnesium. And the shoulder was the secondary part, which fixed itself. But the menstrual cycle, she said, it just changed my life. I got it. She said, you gave me 4 days a month of my life back by this.
Whoa.
So that's, we've seen all kinds of testimonies come, but each person has a different response.
Right. Okay, so I have a question about it, because I have a specific little injury. So I scraped up my elbow really bad, and I don't know if you can see how bruised it is. It's very, very bruised. I fell off my bike, mountain biking. And would you recommend spraying that on there? Would you, because I feel like it needs some magnesium around here, but would you recommend not having it touch the scabs at all, or what would you recommend?
Well, it's the very best thing you can do for any wound. Because, first of all, you're giving it.
So just spray it on?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do it now.
And it also is a total antibacterial thing. You will never get an infection in the wound if you keep especially in a new wound.
Okay.
It'll sting a bit, but the stinging goes away right away. And any mucous membranes, my friend in San Diego keeps his eyes beautifully clear by spraying it right into his eye. He doesn't spray it like that. He sprays it from here, and a nice mist goes into his eyes. It stings a little bit until it gets all the bacteria out of your eyes. So, it can be used in all that kind of thing. It's a very safe, do no harm type of product.
Okay,
you also
cool.
use it.
Yeah.
You can also use it in dental.
Really?
To to balance all the bacterial in your milk, and to also provide the nourishment to go with the calcium.
Awesome. And sometimes I notice it like like sort of itches a little bit after it's sort of soaked in. What is that about?
Only when you first start using it.
Okay.
If you're using it continuously on that part of your body, that
Okay.
totally goes away. And that there's only a slight problem with that initially, and it depends on how much bacteria is resident on your skin at that point,
Okay.
or how much exfoliation has not happened, because that's a resident for bacteria, which is microscopic. You
Got
put it on
it.
it, then I used to get a little bit of itching. I get none, and I just pour it on my body now.
Perfect. This is exciting. I need to use this more, I think. That's what I'm gathering from this conversation is like do the 30 sprays per day and really see how that goes. Because I've been using it here and there, but that's going to be the true test. I love this. It's like who gets to like talk to the like owner of these businesses and get exactly the directions for how to do it the right way?
Yeah. You go AM and PM, 30 sprays each is really how you get going to amp it up.
Awesome. I'm excited to do it. Well, Ian, as usual, I absolutely love talking with you, and you're just like a wealth of knowledge, but also you're on the cutting edge of so much cool technology. And that's one of the things I love talking about with you, and just hearing, that you're taking this to this next level always. And giving us an opportunity to learn about this glass and about these oils and these different ways of getting this food and these like micronutrients into the body. Micronutrients are so important because that's the thing that from all these processed foods for decades that people have been exposed to, they're really missing those, and we're going to get the fuel from our macronutrients all day long. Those are readily available. To bring in these micronutrients is so crucial. And here you are bringing in micronutrients that possibly even with like the phytoplankton that you talked about we've never been exposed to, which is super exciting. So like I would say potentially even having an impact on our evolution as humans. So thank you for bringing this work to all of us. I'm really glad.
Yeah, I count it a privilege to be in that position to do that and just be a channel for helping people. I just identify it and let it flow through.
Awesome. Anything else you want to share with us?
I think we covered mostly everything. The one little point on nutrition, when you talk about micronutrients in the oil, it does go into the nanonutrients in the phytoplankton, because the phytoplankton itself is a microscopic algae. And an update on that, we had the European scientific community that was dealing with this on the university level and the corporate level told me there were 57 nutritional molecules that could not be identified with any past history, and that was up until July. Recently, they're at 185 unknown, unmatched nutrients, above and over and above every other thing that's in there. So all the nutritional molecules in the phytoplankton are already matching everything that's known. So they're saying to us now, every molecule that's in a human being, an animal, a plant, that could possibly exist is inside the phytoplankton.
Yes.
And that's a major breakthrough.
That's huge. I love that stuff. It's so good. Awesome. Ian, it's great to see you and talk to you. And thanks so much for being here. We'll talk to you again, I'm sure, soon.
Yeah, it's always fun talking with you. So.
All right.